But they have been trying to get to Jupiter for a while, and their ships are fast.
Yes, it's faster to go from Mars to Jupiter than it is to go from Neptune to Jupiter, depending on the orbital alignment.
You're saying this like you know it. Are you serious?
I've read a lot of science fiction, but it's also... Okay, what do you think is the closest planet to Earth?
Mars.
Mercury. What is the closest planet to Jupiter?
I forgot my solar system.
Mercury. What is the closest
What?
planet to Pluto?
No.
On average, when Jupiter is going around, Earth could be on the other side. Mercury is still closer to Earth. Or when Neptune is literally on the other side of the solar system, Mercury is still closer.
I forgot they all orbit around the sun.
Sonam, do the intro.
All right, we're back with part 4 of our Lightbringer book club with inreallore. This is Nick and Sonam, and we are finishing up, or we have finished. Did we record part 3? We did record part 3. Man, he's so slow at releasing them. We have finished part 4. And, well, we wanted to chat a little bit about this part, finish it off, and then kind of summarize how I felt about the book.
Yes, so we can get an idea of what happened, where the characters kind of went, weep and mourn and cry and cry.
Guys,
cry.
No.
And cry.
No.
We'll
talk about it then, okay?
Cried.
Stop. All right.
I wept manly tears.
If you are listening to this, you have likely finished part 4. So spoilers, beware. Nick, overall, what did you think about about this part? Go for it.
Cry. Also,
my honor remains.
Wait. Just wait. I'm, how long are we into the recording? No, crap, I can't do it just yet. Never mind. I'm going to save my words that I need to say for later.
Oh yeah, we're all going to get there, don't worry.
We'll get there, but Lysander is a snake.
Yeah, I mean, it was... So, we kept talking about death flags last episode, and you found... When I found out, I texted you, and you're like, Sonam, I'm not there yet. I'm like, shit! But like,
yeah.
Where was I going with it? Oh yeah, it had to happen, and I think like Lysander killing Cassius... It was inevitable. Like we talked about it, I think, if we go back to part 2, part 3, we kept thinking about the death flags. Yeah. And it got worse because he named Lyria Eaglet. Yeah. And Darrow told him he's his brother. Yeah. And not just brother in battle, but brother in war. It was gut-wrenching. No. His death was gut-wrenching. I love that great god of a man.
What did I tell? Also, everyone was literally tripping over themselves every time they saw Cassius because Volga shows up to talk to Darrow about things.
He is a very pretty man.
And he's looking off into the distance in profile as if he's being minted for a coin, and Volga literally trips over herself and actually later on says, he is the most pretty man I've ever seen.
Yeah, and him and Lyria were like, I mean, I really wanted to see a little like him and Lyria love arc. Yeah. You're right. It was like, he did it well. It was a powerful death. What did you say about this death? You said that a good death that is written is not one that makes you feel a lot while you like read it. It's the effect it had on the people around them.
Yes. So Cassius's death, obviously like traumatic when it happened, but it was more impactful when Darrow found out and his thought process and everything he had to go through afterwards. That was
Sevro missed the loss, and he killed Sevro's father.
Yeah.
Well, okay. We'll go into this in more detail. I wanted to talk a bit about...
There's one other thing. You said death flags.
Yeah.
What did I tell you is the most atypical death flag that is ever shown? Like the most tropey death flag.
I forget.
When we get back, we will do said thing.
Yeah.
They even said, hey, when we get back to Mars, we'll go spelunking and we'll go see the deep mines of Mars.
Okay, all right. I'm going to move on.
Yes.
Because we'll get to this point a little bit more, but overall, other than it being a heart, like, a gut shed, what else did you think about part 4?
I liked it. It was a good solid, like...
It didn't feel long enough for me.
It didn't. A lot happened.
Yeah, part 3 was huge. So part 3 was a really good narrative. It was really good narration and really good storytelling.
Yeah.
I remember someone who commented on our part 2 video said part 2 was her favorite.
Yeah.
I think part 3 was my favorite. Part 4 happened way too quickly. I think once Cassius died, I just like threw a book against the wall, figuratively speaking, and I didn't want to listen to the rest of it.
Yeah, it was also even though so much happened in part 3, there was a quick succession of events that kind of quickly happened in part 4 that were emotional, like dumping overall.
Yeah, it was just like, I felt like it was a little rushed. I'm not going to lie. I did feel like part 4 was a little, I know it's setting up for it's Red God, right?
Red God, yeah.
But I just felt like it was a little rushed. And it was interesting because I found that like, you know, they're all like, okay, I'll be honest, like I thought Ajax was going to be a bigger character. Or not Ajax, Atlas. I thought he was going to be a bigger villain, but no, he died. Like he literally died. Yeah. That was it. I thought there was going to be a more, you know, magnificent death for him.
But the thing is he did do so much as a villain.
But Fa died so easily too. That's the problem. I wanted to see them more villainy.
Yes, but that's the thing though, is that they're the most like ultimate evil villains. Like they're the pure evil villains.
Yeah, they should have lived longer.
But
we can't kill stupid shit-eating head Lysander, but Fa Fa could crush Lysander's head with his hand.
But narratively it actually fits with the stories that are going on with the characters that are actually foils to one another for the main narrative thrust. Darrow and Lysander are two complete opposites in terms of how they perceive the world and how they're actually going about with their actions. Where Lysander talks a big game about peace and wanting prosperity and making sure that everyone like feels welcome in the world. He doesn't do anything to actually do that. His actions are complete opposite to what he is saying almost at all times. Whereas Darrow, he is seen as the war god. He's the warmonger. He's the one that's like killing everyone and seems to be the one that is causing the most chaos, but he's the one that's actually looking for the most forgiveness and seeking the best of human spirit without anything.
We should.
Which is why Atlas going fits for Lysander and it fits with Atlas, or it fits with Darrow's story, and it fits with everything very well.
Okay. Now, I think we should actually go through part 4 a little bit. I know we did it with part 3, it just gives us a little bit of an overview. But when we finish part 3, part 4 starts with the Obsidian vote.
Yeah.
And then they try to leave, and then Lysander is coming in with his morning star. And it eked me. Okay, not more. Okay, lightbringer. It irked me so hard. He is such a little pretty piece of shit. And
Sonam, we are now past 7 minutes, so I don't think YouTube is going to care at this point, but fuck Lysander! Good enough.
Okay, we're good. We get our one.
We needed to get that out.
We really did. He sucks.
He sucks.
Because on the morning
he's
star...
good. He's so good in how much you hate him. How much you hate him.
I know. So what was interesting, okay, so Lysander and his crew are coming in, right? And then, you know, Diomedes and Darrow decide, and Cassius decide to stay and hide on Europa. And then Diomedes has this, like, secret meeting between Darrow and Lysander.
Because Darrow was expecting to meet with Gaia.
Yeah.
He wasn't expecting to meet with...
Oh, really?
Yes.
I thought he was just expecting to see Diomedes.
No, because what they were expecting to do was bring Gaia and have the conversation of like, we have Fa's head. Here's what's going on with Atlas. We need and like
we'll get to the Gaia
have that conversation that they had later on.
Yeah.
But those two, Diomedes instead wanted to actually have peace between the two.
Diomedes is stupid. Even he has agreed at the end that he made the mistake and he's not going to make it again.
Yes.
Remember? Like he actually, I think he said that, right? It wasn't on Reddit. But like, I'm pretty sure he said that.
You did.
But they did not break bread with Diomedes, so they could have both killed each other.
Yes. They didn't eat bread because of a technicality of guest law.
No. That's for the other one. They did not break bread at all with Diomedes. He just put them in a cave and he said, talk. Yeah. Right? So they weren't a guest of his truly. He did not share bread with him. So on that technicality, Darrow could have put Lysander out of his misery. Let me know if you agree with me.
Yeah, I see it. But of course, Cassius listens in and decides that he wants to actually go and talk with Lysander himself and help Lysander out to
kill the Fear Knight.
To kill Atlas, essentially.
The man who killed fear.
Man who killed fear.
There's a really nice poem on Reddit about that.
I didn't get a chance to read that, but
I should
read it.
It says, to the man who killed fear.
Yeah.
It's really nice. We'll find it. We'll put it down in the comments.
Yeah. And that is also heartbreaking because the only thing that Lysander is actually fearing in that moment is not he's fearing having strings attached to him.
Yeah, when he had that anxiety attack, right?
Yeah.
He said he's only ever had it once before, and Octavia put him in the pandemonium chair.
Because of grief.
And had him forget his parents.
Yeah.
But and we thought he was having this attack because he was so emotionally overwhelmed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Realizing he had to do the right choice, take out Atlas, and like he fears everything else going on around him.
Is it just me or the Atlas fight was too easy?
No, because remember, like they even said at one point with Diomedes, Cassius, and Darrow in one room, it is literally the best Razor Masters in all of the worlds. So it wasn't exactly an easy fight because it is Cassius versus Fear, and Cassius is the better Razor Master between the two of them. It's just Atlas is like a tactical genius and has been at war for 12 years. And
it was a brutal battle. I think Lysander fights like a little baby, and Cassius fights with honor. Lysander's killed everyone with a gun.
He has.
He's that much of a piece of shit.
Yeah, and it's
I
also...
want to say so many bad words, but I don't want this to get demonetized, so I have to be careful.
But it's also... Yeah, his fight with Roan, like, he almost got completely taken out by Roan.
I know, who is a...
He's a Praetorian.
No, but he's a Grey, right?
He is a Grey.
Yeah.
He's a Praetorian, so he is, like, the elite of the elite of the elite. Like, for anyone that is in Warhammer, he's basically a custodian, whereas, like, a normal Grey is, like, a space marine.
Take that back.
No, I won't.
I don't understand what that means. So try to use language that most of the population will know.
SEAL Team 6.
Okay, good enough.
Yeah. Basically, that's what the Praetorians are. But, like, Lysander struggles against him. Like, it's almost that entire chapter.
Like,
he's weak.
He rose to power through manipulation. But that's the way that I think Octavia raised him, too, right? He is this, But, like, what broke my heart was Cassius really thought that Lysander would not kill him. He really thought that he wouldn't have the heart to kill him. And I think that's in his naivety, and everyone was trying to tell him, like...
Yeah.
But, I mean, he also raised him for 12 years, right? Do you think that the kid that you raised for 12 years is going to turn around and kill you? Not really. Like, that's not something that you think about in the moment, right? But, like, tell me, like, so, you know, he was trying to get him to stop picking up the bag of, like, you know, the big, massive, like, warheads that can kill, basically commit mass genocide, right?
A virus to kill an entire color.
Bioterrorism. But what was the last thing he said? I am Cassius Bologna, and my honor remains.
So it's, I am Cassius Bologna, son of Tiberius, son of Julia, brother of Darrow, morning knight of the Solar Republic, and my honor remains.
He wasn't a gold.
He wasn't a gold anymore. I've noticed this actually come up more in this book, and I don't know if it was in Dark Age and Iron Gold, but in the Republic, people are dropping that like designation of color.
Does Virginia drop it? Virginia Augustus?
I think
Virginia
it's in this.
Augustus.
I think it's still in this book. I can't remember if it was in those previous books. I think it's something he's doing now to show the cultural shift of people deciding not to be a color. Because Cassius at one point talks about how Pytha and Lysander both chose to be blue and gold respectively. They didn't stay with him to be people. They chose to be within their confines of color.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like, and I'm like, as soon as I saw Lysander in the bag and Cassius, I'm like, shit, this is how he dies.
Yeah.
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 What was worse though is how he hung him.
Yeah. So
like what the heck?
That's the difference between his Lysander's thoughts, his internal monologue, and the actions that everyone else sees. He thinks he is the hero. And it's something Atlas called out at 1.2. Do not trust a man who believes he is good or doing good, for he will excuse any evil to the end of good.
Interesting.
And that is everything that Lysander is doing now. Yeah. He is justifying all this horror. He is justifying all this horror in relation to like his good that he thinks he's doing.
What was he trying to, okay, I'll be honest, what was he trying to accomplish by showing Cassius like hung? He knew that he was going to turn Darrow and Diomedes together. He knew that he was going to turn everyone else against him. He knew that he was going to unite the daughters of Ares, the Volk, and the Rim, and Darrow. What was he trying to prove? I didn't actually get what his tactical play was there.
He doesn't know about the daughters of Ares.
Okay.
Or the daughters of Ares, daughter of Athena.
But still, what was he trying to prove by showing Cassius brutally murdered?
What he was trying to do was elicit an emotional reaction to cause that Cassius belly, which is basically a way of saying, like, I have a justified reason to go to war. So by showing Cassius's body, angering the Rim Lords, because they all see Cassius as a very honorable man because of what happened in the previous books, they do not agree to his terms. And so on the gold side, his entire manipulation is now him burning and sacking the Garter of Demeter.
Yeah, that was rough, man.
But that is now justified because he has a Cassius belly is basically what nations would used to use to say, like, I have a holy justification for war. It is not something that other people can say, like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. You weren't justified. I can go to war against you for that unjustified action. He found a way to make it so that way he's justified. So he did that specifically for that purpose. But it's that contrast and the hypocrisy of his actions.
Like, I found that really weird, you know?
Because all he asked for when Cassius died was, I just wish for him to say one more word.
Okay, come on. Like, what? Like, and then you hang him out like that? And he wanted to make it. And then the one other thing I really hated was he had his, like, inner circle, and he's like, guys, clean me up, but leave my wounds, you know?
Yeah.
And then he killed half of his guard that were not in on it, right? So, and then one of the, I think, was it Kuiper? Kuiper actually was worried about it at the end of the book, and she's like, I know you dispose of things that don't agree with you, and he's like, you are okay, I'm not going to kill you. It was like, remember that discussion?
Yeah.
And it's just like, he just kills whomever doesn't agree with this plan.
It's not that. It's because the Praetorians moved against him. No matter what, he could never trust them because they were on his side. They were atlases. They were atlases. Yeah. So he couldn't trust them anymore because they could just kill him again. That was another string he had attached to him. He was worried about his Praetorian guards.
You know, as much as we hate him, he's done quite well to get to where he is as a villain.
Yeah.
He had absolutely no power, but his name. He had no skill. Yeah. But his whatever that god eye is.
Mind's eye.
Yeah, that. And he had no army until he found the Praetorians.
Yeah.
He lost his army, and he somehow has the biggest moonbreaker in the galaxy, and now is going to war with Atlantia.
He's going to war on Mars.
Oh, well, I mean, he's going to shoot up. Atlantia is going to, because both of them cannot reign, right?
He now has justification to get rid of Atlantia anyway because of... they were working out with Julia.
Because of everything. Just everything.
Yeah. Because they have a way to dispose of her and also just murder her outright. They have justification for it. So, he is fully coming into his own as the full villain. Yeah. And, it is very interesting to see the interplay because it's also, he's very broken. But because he also, remember when Cassius died, he had this thought of him in a room, in a chair, holding a candle. And when he blew out the candle, the lights beside him went out. Because that's when he was put into the pandemonium chair to get rid of his anxiety and his grief around his parents. So he's never properly actually grieved for loss.
That is true. The only thing that probably meant as much to him as his parents was Cassius.
Exactly.
And he still killed him.
And he still did god-awful, horrible things to his body, too.
Yeah. And, so then he sacked the garter or he stole from it? Because I kept seeing that they were raiding it. And then they're like, oh, whatever we're raiding will pay off all the creditors. Like, it was really interesting to listen to that.
They burned half of it.
Okay.
And then they took the rest.
Okay.
Because the plan was to basically cripple the Rim.
Yeah, but... doesn't he realize that if you cripple the Rim, they become Mars's ally by sheer need?
No, because basically what he was doing was he was crippling them so that way, like, I had justification for what I did, no matter what. and we will come back and we will rectify this and clean it up later. After everything that happened with the Vogue, I came here to help you, and you came back against me. Mm-hmm. He basically was trying to do what Atlas was trying to do originally, which is fully humble the Rim. But he doesn't know about Athena. He doesn't know. He thinks the Vogue are just like useless, and they will be fighting amongst themselves with the Rim over the last bit of scraps of resources. Mm-hmm. He thinks they're associated with Fa, or just a free agent.
Okay.
Even though he knows Darrow's there, he doesn't think that they will align.
Because he just united 5 armies. Or 4.
Yes, he did.
And they may not be very big separately, but they will be big together.
Yeah.
And I actually really like the Darrow Diomedes back and forth.
Yeah, it was very good.
I feel like they're going to be real. Like, you know what? It was really interesting to see Diomedes change sides like he did. Like, I really thought it would be a Diomedes Lysander type alliance, and then shit hit the fan. Lysander did save him, but then he came back as a puppet.
Yeah.
But now you have the Darrow Diomedes alliance, and I feel like that's a really interesting one because both of them have honor, and it's one of those things, and you're probably going to get to the theme of forgiveness eventually, so I won't bring it up right now. But I like it between the two of them because Diomedes is a man of his word. And there is just nothing else, to be said. And he will say, and he's a man of few words. Yeah. But his honor is true. Like he reminds me of a Cassius.
He is a little bit more of a Cassius. Yeah. Because even Romulus probably would have actually agreed, but Darrow had to do what he had to do in order to.
Isn't it interesting though that you could find forgiveness in somebody who sacked your dockyards 12 years ago?
But it's really can you find forgiveness in the man that killed your family, the man that killed your father? Yeah. The man that beat your brother to death.
Which one is that?
Well, Cassius, his brothers, was beat to death by Darrow. Yeah. He forgave him. Sevro forgave Cassius for having killed his father. Yeah. And then all the Vogue and the Rim generally were starting to actually forgive one another. There is a lot of that because that is the way actually forward is violence is necessary, but war is not ended with annihilation.
So, themes. Number 1, forgiveness.
Forgiveness. Yeah. A man finding his way, because Darrow decided at this point to name his new style Breath of Stone.
That was really interesting. Yeah. Yeah, that was cool. Because in the mines, all we had was that wind, that breath that came in between the rocks, We didn't see anything else. We didn't see the sun. We didn't know the surface existed. They didn't think it was terraformed. Yeah. And all they had to keep him sane was that wind. Yeah. That was really cool.
Yeah. It is really cool. So you have Darrow really finding his own way, not to home, but to his self, and coming into his true self essentially. Whereas now Lysander is the same way. Lysander, with all those strings attached, couldn't find his own self and is now unbidden, tied down. He can now be him. So that theme kind of fits it. This is one thing, though, I noted someone was talking about this, but the term lightbringer.
Yes, okay.
And morning star. Yeah. So Darrow is considered the morning star from the original trilogy. Mm-hmm. And now Lysander has taken up the title of lightbringer. Yeah. Both of those are pseudonyms or additional names for Lucifer.
Wonderful.
So it's something that's always come up a little bit with Pierce Brown. He does like his Paradise Lost and he describes a lot of people as Miltonian, high amounts of rhetoric or anything. But the fact that there is those two different names for two characters that allude to a literary figure, they are different sides of that figure essentially. So Darrow as the morning star is more representative of Lucifer, who is looking for self-fulfillment and humanitarian aspects. So the Church of Satan, you might think it's the Church of Satan's they're all devil worship and they're No, the Church of Satan is actually much more about humanistic approaches. So treating people with equals and letting you live your life in the freest way that you can. Yep. And that's everything that Darrow does. But to the Golds, he is perceived of as the deceiver, the liar. He's the one that brings up lies. Whereas Lysander being the lightbringer, is the deceiving aspect of that like idea of Lucifer. He is the one that is lying, manipulating, and deceiving people, and saying what is good for them is good for them, but is actually leading them down to the path of hell. So it's very. I found that like post on it, and like I was like, oh, this actually fits, which is why they're foils.
So. Pierce Brown has come out also to say that every book is related to Darrow, all titles. So yes. Where is this Lightbringer?
Again, because it is a different title for the Morning Star, for Lucifer.
So that's how it's related to Darrow? Because technically the Lightbringer is Lysander.
He is claiming the title of Lightbringer. He was never given it.
But like Darrow wasn't actually given this title either. So like
he wasn't given the title of Golden Sun though.
Who gave him the title of Golden Sun? How was it given?
No one gave him the title of Golden Sun. Okay. It was never a title given to anyone. It just related to Darrow in a way. It's the same way as like Dark Age. No one called Darrow the Dark Age. It was just something that related to him.
You sure?
Well, he was going through his Dark Age. Literally at the end of the book, like they lost all power and they're like, we have dropped into a new Dark Age. Yeah,
I know. Like it's just, I felt like part 4 just happened too quick. The Gaia Diomedes exchange was really interesting. Gaia's like, I am not going to do this. And Diomedes like,
you're going to die soon.
Basically, my honor is me? I'm going to die soon?
No, that's what Diomedes basically told his grandmother. Is like, listen, you dying soon. You're not going to have to live in the world that you are trying to like sustain.
Yeah. And then he just puts a whip around him and he's like, kill me. Kill me now. Kill me now. She's like, Diomedes, I cannot.
I forgot about that part. Yes. That is such a good way of showing like, if you might as well kill me because what you're doing is strangling our society. You're strangling our way of life.
She's like, it's the old guard, right?
Yeah.
Keeping kind of, and I mean, we see it a lot. We see a lot of the parallels in our lives as well, right? People who have older age, who are set in their ways and who don't want to change things. And then us little millennials, we're trying to maybe change things.
Well, I think that's a lot of where he got his influence for this book. Because
how old is Pierce Brown?
He's our age.
No.
Yeah.
All right, you keep talking. I'm going to Google this.
So he is bringing a lot of modern politics into these books. Literally, the idea of the old nobility.
35 years old.
Oh, he's 35. Yeah, he's a little older than us.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea of the old nobility.
Yeah.
So like all the old senators and like
the old houses.
Congressmen, senators.
Okay. You're talking about real world.
Yeah. He's bringing that idea of all these people that are like in their 60s and 80s that probably shouldn't be like giving out like actual laws that people have to live by. And you have that aspect with the Gaia Diomedes interaction.
It was interesting.
You also have the people that are refusing, like the billionaire.
We've already talked about that.
The billionaire aspect with Quicksilver. Yeah. You also have like the doomerist perspective of like, let's just break everything. And then people that are trying to be pacifist and change the way that things are, reformers, versus the people that are not saying that they need to necessarily break everything, but a little violence is necessary for change, which is Darrow and Sevro.
A little violence, eh?
They're more.
Have you seen how massively crazy their battles are?
They're a little bit more on the ultra violence, but Darrow is willing to compromise often.
It was really interesting to see the political war going back and forth. But yes, the Gaia Diomedes was, and then it was nice to see when they were trying to escape the wherever they were, right? Like Lysander was kind of like burning it down. They were getting put down to rubble. It was really nice to see that she stood by Darrow's side. It was almost like a plea for acceptance, saying, she even asked him, she's like, I cannot run. You need to carry me. He's like, I got my back. Like, get on me. Well, let's go.
Yeah.
But it was just one of those things because she's a very proud woman, right? And instead of being left there to die and die on her soil, she's like, okay, let's make something better of this. Yeah. At least that's what I got from it, right?
No, 100%. Yeah. That was definitely what I got from that too.
It was quite nice to see. And I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm quite excited to see what this epic alliance is going to bring because I missed not seeing Virginia very much. I feel like what's his name, Pax is going to have a bigger. Actually, why don't we just talk about what we think maybe the next book is going to bring?
So before we do that, there's one thing I do want to talk about, which is the one character that we haven't talked about that's a POV, but I don't think she had a POV in this part. Lyria.
Yeah, she didn't.
I absolutely love where Lyria is right now.
You know what? Me too.
But I'm sad that she's going to be she's going to be heartbroken with Cassius. We didn't get her reaction to that, unfortunately.
No.
But the one thing that I'm really loving about
No,
Lyria,
I think we did get his reaction. Her reaction.
No.
Did we not?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, shit.
We didn't get a POV of her, and it was only like...
Someone said Lyria said he's a pure heart. Like, I thought Lyria was there.
I think that was Volga, because Volga was... Volga was saying he was the prettiest man I have ever known.
Yeah.
And Lyria... that Lyria says he was the purest of heart. But Lyria, at the end of this book, she is not... I really enjoy how she's been able to like infiltrate things because she's small. But she's picking things up, like how to like pilot the ship and everything, but she's not hyper competent at it.
Yeah, I know.
I love that. I love that when they're waiting on the island.
She almost crashes.
This ship, and then the ship is coming back, and then the ship is like flying around again.
Yeah.
And it does a perfect like spiral, and Darrow's like, okay, that's not Lyria driving anymore.
I know.
But I really enjoy her. She is learning so much, but she does it purely through grit. She's not the best at everything, but she just is gritting and getting through it. I love it.
I know. So I really thought the Figment was going to define her, but I think he kind of like kiboshed that storyline, and somehow she is showing the true power of a red.
Yeah.
The power of a red that wasn't given extra powers. Like, you know, like, because you always see reds are powerless, right? Darrow became powerful because
he was carved.
He was carved. And, Tactus was same thing. And then you have, like, them getting put in these, like, giant mechs, right?
Yeah.
She is just a girl from, Lyria of Lagalos, I believe, right? And she's just a girl who wants to help. She wants to help. And somehow helps and has no fear in it anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty cool.
I think you're right. Actually, the best, it's having her not have the power was making her too much like Darrow.
Yeah.
She lost a lot of her, like, if they had kept that power, she would have lost who her character was.
Yeah, she's the hardened young girl that is never going to give up and who's not going to let her weaknesses define her.
Yeah.
And it's cool. Like, I think he's, I was really mad at Pierce for a bit to take out the Figment, but you know what? I forgive you, Pierce, if you're listening to this.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to listen to this, but
Maybe one day.
Maybe. I don't know. And if he does, please come on and do a podcast with us. We love your books.
We love your books. They're so good.
I know.
But yeah, I like her story. I like where she is at now. And I'm really excited to see where she's going to go now. But
That's our puppy. Sorry.
Emoji. But we didn't get her reaction to Cassius.
I know. I wonder if he held it off on purpose.
Maybe.
Because they're really... What if she's pregnant with his baby?
Okay, you were too much on Reddit.
I'm on Reddit. I know. I'm sorry, guys.
One,
and everyone else.
The only reason Sevro was born because his mother had to be carved to be able to...
Fine.
Like, have them.
But if you believe anything you believe, you can achieve. Also,
just because it's a pretty man and a main female character doesn't mean that their relationship necessarily needs to be romantic.
Cassius.
Yes.
I would even go to bed with him. Like, let's be honest. I'll take one for the team.
On the romance side, though, is Diomedes and Aurae.
Yeah, well, the thing is, Cassius and Aurae were a big thing.
So I thought Cassius to Aurae, not Aurae to Cassius.
Yeah, but like, does Aurae love Diomedes as well?
Yes, that was heavily implied.
Yeah, but the thing though is, I kin that to Cassius and Aurae and Diomedes and Aurae, you know?
It is, but...
Because I thought Diomedes was infatuated with her because she is a pink.
Yeah, and I think that he does have that, and I think it's going to be a hard relationship from here on out, but I think there's a lot of hints that Aurae does truly love him. Like, actually does. Because she can see the good heart that he has, and it is not just a slaver or an oppressor.
Okay. No, I think... Did you want to say anything else about this part, by the way?
No, I don't think so at this point.
Why don't we summarize what we thought about the book?
Yeah, you go first then.
So this one reminded me a lot about book 4. No, book 4, book 3, book... It was one of the... Okay, so this book was less action, more setup, except for part 2, where you had that epic like battle at on Mars, where they kind of had a stalemate, to be honest. There was a lot more. I actually really enjoyed not having guns and fire and craziness and giant battles all the time. It was really nice to just see people develop. And, things like forgiveness. That arc was huge. Like, that was an overarching theme of the book. Forgiveness and finding your way back home, right? And and that's the Odysseus, essentially.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that he took the time to carve out more narrative character lines. And it's not normal for me to say that because I love action. Like, this girl loves action.
Yeah.
But I am really pissed off I have to wait another year.
Yeah.
He could have just released both books together.
I know.
Why?
But he's going to be pretty quick about Red God, apparently. So.
Well, is it already done? I think it is.
I think it's like probably half done at this point.
Half done? It better be done. He better not decide to rewrite it.
You do realize that like books typically aren't finished being written until like 2 months before release.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
This is coming from my husband, who has been trying to write a book for the last 8 years that I've met him.
Exactly.
I have married him. We've bought a house, yet he hasn't written more than 2 lines.
Yeah. So the one thing I do want to say with this book is the same thing that you were saying. It was less action heavy. And the fact is that Pierce Brown is such a good writer that every dialogue, like scene of dialogue, was just as or more gripping than the action.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Like I liked part 3 a lot.
Like just Darrow and Sevro having a conversation for 10 pages was phenomenal.
Was that 10 pages? Because
I don't think it was 10
the
pages.
Audiobook, so I don't know.
For like 5 minutes of like audiobook. Or Cassius and Lysander having a conversation. The writing there is so good that you are just really invested in it.
Yeah.
Which is not to downplay the actual action, but it's just...
So I think Red God is going to be... Well, can I tell you what I think Red God is going to be? My hypotheses?
Go ahead.
Okay. What was I going to say? Red God. I think it's going to be much more action-filled.
I don't
think... You don't think so?
I don't think it... I think it will be...
I thought it's going to be a blood battle.
So...
It's got red in the title.
Maybe. But the thing is you had Dark Age, which was actually non-stop adrenaline for the almost 30 hours. I
forget what Dark Age was. It was so long ago.
Yeah. It was almost pure adrenaline the entire time because it was everything on Mercury. It was the Day of Red Doves. It was everything on Mars.
Wait, Dark Age was book 5.
Yes.
I thought that was book 4. Sorry.
No.
Okay, yep.
Dark Age was pure action, which is makes the contrast with this book much stronger of like how good the dialogue is with how amazing the action was in book 5 in Dark Age. For Red God, I think he's going to lean a little bit more into the dialogue.
Really?
Because you will have a lot of action.
Giant wars though. Like there's going to be giant wars. Like they're all going to war with Mars or at Mars. You know what I mean? Like it's that's where it's going to that's where it started. That's where it's going to end.
Yeah, so I think there will be a war over it, but there will be a lot more conversations because one, there is a massive, super weapon that is now just in the hands of Lysander.
Did you forget this part or did I forget this part? When I finished the book, I don't know if I dreamt this, but I think he was saying he was looking at the bag and then he had 2 cubes in his hand, gold and red.
Yes.
That was a thing, right?
Yes, he had 13
How do we not
cubes.
I forgot about it. Yeah, he had 13 cubes and he picked up 2.
One for each color.
Yeah.
And he picked up the red and the gold and he was deciding which one will I use.
Okay, I can't believe I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That was scary.
Yeah, so there is going to be conversation.
Yeah.
The other thing too is the Abomination has to come back.
Are you sure he did just write that out of the plot line?
No, yeah, okay. He has come out and said that because there was no perspective on the Abomination, he was just leaving it because there is so much going on with Darrow and Lyria and everything else. So he's like, whatever, we'll come to that back to that because there's so much going on.
Yeah.
Which still is Sevro is a ticking time bomb.
You really think still? I feel like he kiboshed that storyline too.
I don't know.
But like so much has happened. If he wanted to ruin somebody, wouldn't have he already done it? Do you know what I mean? And also, whose side is the Abomination on? He just came out of nowhere.
That's the other thing is I think that because it's the Vox Populi that's holding on to Lune, like onto the moon. It's I also think apparently there's been some speculation that he's the informant.
Yeah, because Mustang wouldn't tell Kavix who it was.
And Kavix was kind of disappointed. Like he didn't guess. And she said, like, do you even need to guess? And he's like, and he was like disappointed in her. So yes, I think it might be the Abomination.
Her baby brother.
Her baby brother.
Her baby brother.
Her baby twin brother.
That's really screwed up, man.
It's really messed up. So there's discussions to go on there. There's also the Atalantia versus Lysander.
Yeah, because let's count our villains first. How many villains do we got? We got Atlantia.
Apollonius.
I forgot about him. I actually liked him too.
Yeah.
Apollonius, Lysander.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Abomination.
Yep.
Then we have Darrow, his crew for good guys, and we have Virginia as good guys, and we have Victra, right? And Sevro.
Yeah.
So there are too many villains because they all don't like each other.
So
will Apollonius become a Darrow man?
So
I don't know, I kind of feel like it.
One, I think Apollonius still wants to have that duel with with Darrow. Sorry,
with the breath of stone.
But remember, he said, "I want to have a fight with you on my vineyard. So when I kill you, I can make a new vintage bathed in your blood."
Did he really say that?
Yes.
Oh, Apollonius.
Oh, Apollonius. God, I love that man.
He just knows what a troll he is.
He knows what he is, and he just accepts it. Unlike Lysander, who still thinks he's a virtuous, beautiful man.
He's not very pretty. They even mention it. He's just like okay on the eyes.
Yeah,
he's mentioned it in the book. Like Lysander is not very pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the Abomination somewhere. Apollonius, maybe he might switch. Who knows? Especially maybe he'll understand like whatever Lysander is up to and be like, nah, screw that. Atalantia and Lysander, I think Atalantia is not going to last.
Oh, God, no. It's just a matter of what's going to happen because right now she's got the biggest fleet in the core.
Yeah, but he has a weapon that can kill all golds.
And you know what I want? I want him to die by his own weapon. It'd be really funny. I think it may happen.
That'd be good, actually.
I think it may happen.
Oh, that would be good.
Think about it.
Or Lyria gets to kill him.
With the weapon. Oh, yeah, I want Lyria to kill him.
Yeah.
Because he killed Cassius. I think Lyria is justified in taking his life.
I saw one person is like, the way I want Lysander to die is like, his plans go awry. He's running through like the alleyways trying to get away because he's a little snake trying to run away. And it's just Lyria comes around a corner with a shiv and just like basically shivs him in the stomach and like lets him die bleeding in an alleyway.
Okay.
And that's his death.
I feel like that's still too good for him. I think I want to shit on him with like poison poop.
What?
Well, I mean, I think Pierce did a very good job if we hate him this much because I think that's what he wanted.
No, he did an incredible good job.
People to be passionate about their characters.
Exactly.
Regardless of how bad or good they are.
Yeah. He also, Lysander is, what's going to be great is he's making his way to Mars thinking like, he's got nothing behind him. He's going to go to Mars.
He's got slow ships behind him, other than Diomedes' ships.
Well, he's just like, I've got nothing to worry about behind me. Whereas, like, Darrow has an entire fleet, has the Rim coming behind him.
Can I ask a question?
The Shadow Armada.
Where is the Shadow Armada? They keep talking about it. Where the hell was it?
Literally on the other side of the solar system.
Where was it?
Neptune.
Why?
Because that's where it's supposed to be. It basically defends against the Ascomani.
But they have been trying to get to Jupiter for a while, and their ships are fast.
Yes, it's faster to go from Mars to Jupiter than it is to go from Neptune to Jupiter, depending on the orbital alignment.
You're saying this like you know it. You serious?
I've read a lot of science fiction, but it's also... Okay, what do you think is the closest planet to Earth?
Mars.
Mercury. What is the closest planet to Jupiter?
I forgot my solar system.
Mercury. What is the closest planet to Pluto?
No. Oh, is it because of the way it turns?
On average.
Oh, because Earth is on the other side and Mercury's on this side half the time?
Well, no, because Mercury is the closest to the sun. So no matter what, on average, when Jupiter is going around, Earth could be on the other side. Mercury is still closer to Earth. Or when Neptune is literally on the other side of the solar system, Mercury is still closer.
I forgot they all orbit around the sun. I did.
How did you think the planets were set up in this?
A line.
You thought they were aligned?
I did.
You're smart.
Dude,
You're so
that
smart.
breaks my brain now because it changes the book from... I'm not talking anymore. You can exit out this podcast when you want. I refuse to talk.
But that's what I mean is like Neptune, I think they even mentioned, was literally on the complete opposite side of the solar system. So Jupiter may be like 100 million kilometers away from the sun. Neptune, which is normally 150,000.
No, now I get it. Don't worry. You don't have to keep explaining. I get it.
Yeah.
So the Shadow Armada still has a lot of flights, or still has a lot of ships, right?
Yes, and they could be making their way to Mars now too once a like type beam is sent to them from the rim. So you have the Shadow Armada, Athena, you have Darrow, and whatever's left of the rim now coming up from behind on Lysander, who doesn't know what's going on.
I'm quite excited.
I am very excited
And then
too.
Victra has like an awesome army, and Kavix too, and you know they still have the Pegasus Legion, right? So
Yeah, they're all on Mars
I
itself.
have a feeling though some of these villains are going to turn on each other because it can't be like there's too many cooks in the kitchen right now.
Well, yeah, that's the whole point. Lysander's going to, like, Atalantia will turn on Lysander. Abomination, I think, will generally turn on everyone else.
Yeah, well, do you
And
think
Apollonius is just going to be Apollonius.
You think?
Yeah.
You think he's not going to find honor within Darrow and join his cause?
You know what?
I think that they can.
No. He will make the, like, he'll make a concession. Let me duel you, and my forces will join you.
I know, right? He really wants to duel him.
That's all he cares about. He will literally say that.
He cares about honor, but honor in battle.
Yeah. So he will say, like, you know what? Screw the gold. I'll join you. Just duel me. Go to my vineyard.
Apollonius is a snake, but he knows he's a snake, and he's a snake that who abides by the rules of a snake. I love it. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, whereas like Lysander is a snake, but doesn't think he's a snake. Apollonius is a snake, knows he's a snake, and wants to fight like a snake, and you know you're gonna fight a snake. Like, it's kind of nice, you know?
No,
He's an honorable snake.
I love Apollonius. Okay, so we're gonna leave it off on this, and
I'm quite excited for the last book, but I am devastated I have to wait a year.
I know.
That's what I hate when I get into these series that have multiple books.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like listening to them after the author has written the entire series because then I can binge them and just inhale them. But I've had to wait for book 6 and 7. I got into this before book 6 and 7 were out, but I didn't get into it as early as you, maybe? I don't know.
I was only into it about a couple months before you, but I recommended it to you.
Yeah.
And then it kind of was the slippery slope from there.
I know, so now I have to wait another year.
Yeah. But a book that you just decided you wanted to read.
A Children of Time.
Children of Time.
I just downloaded it before.
This is a series that you can read each individual book and not have to worry about when the next book is coming out.
Why?
Because they're like self-contained stories. They're just the same universe.
Okay, cool.
But yes, we're going to do...
Nick is making me do another podcast on Children of Time.
We're doing Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky.
It will come out eventually.
Yes. So if you haven't read that and would like to follow along with us, please do. It's an incredible book. We're going to be breaking it up by parts similar to this, except it'll be part 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8. Like combined in that way.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
I'll label it.
But read up on it. It's a fantastic series. Spiders.
Yeah, let us know what you thought about the entire series, by the way, and book 4 in particular. Or
the entire book.
Part 4 in particular.
Yes.
And the entire book.
And let us know what is your favorite villain and what your villain pool Deadpool is. We'll put bets on which villain dies first.
Oh, we got to start that, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That's all for now. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Bye.